Soaring Arts in Awakening. Okay, so before we get started, I want to just go over the setup for Soaring Arts. Usually you're going to want to sacrifice 1 or 2 crystals for some of these ascensions, and you're going to want to sacrifice potentially your artifact set for the jump height artifact set. And you definitely want 5 movement speed, which is a given. I don't know why you wouldn't have 5 movement speed running anyway, but just in case, that helps a lot. And the Soaring Wings Elixir is another thing to consider trading off a Draught. So you're not going to be able to use a Draught, you'll have to run a full Elixir rotation to get additional stats. If you choose to run the Elixir in addition to some of these other options. So it's all trade-offs. You've got the crystal trade-off, which has never been cheaper than it's been, or less restrictive, because you don't have to do boot crystals anymore. You can pick whatever 2 crystals or 1 crystal you want to sacrifice to get the jump height. Just 1 crystal and an elixir is going to be enough. Just the artifact set is going to be enough to do the tricks. But the more jump height you have, the more effective the jump combos are going to be, obviously. And when you get to the point where just your pole vault skills get an extra little bit of height, that makes a big difference in getting up onto terrain, and your Cloud Stomping skill also has a higher arc, so you go a bit further with it and it gets up onto slightly higher terrain. So just those advantages are a nice feature of the jump height. And then of course your triple jump ends up being quite high. However, triple jump, although it's kind of the best way to practice the more advanced tricks, it's not going to be the safest way to start a jump combo, especially in Awakening. We have a specific way of starting a jump combo in Awakening that isn't available to Suck, Skyreach, especially now that it's an iframe. So you do Skyreach into Shift A or Shift D for this evasion animation at the top of the pole vault. Then you're going to do a leap animation, leap being the double jump. And it's going to let you do that. So you do Skyreach, Shift A, leap. All right, and you'll see it did kind of an off angle leap there. I find that's the most mechanically stable way to do this so that it works the same every time, is that and then hitting W and spacebar in quick succession. So out of Skyreach, you can also then add the R&B to get the side scratch, and then you can add another side leap by continuing to hold down that A key and pressing spacebar. Okay, and then you can add another scratch if you want to get a little bit more height and a little bit more distance. And then at that point, you're not going to be able to do another side leap very easily. You're going to have to drop quite far before the game will allow you to use side leap out of the off cooldown version of Scratch. So when you have this cooldown available, it's very easy to add that leap. When the cooldown is not available, you see how long it takes for that leap animation to start. Okay, so the whole jump combo together, and then Legendary Beast Power usually is going to be your way to descend. You can do some fancy stuff there out of the end of that. So if you want to extend that combo, you could do a bolt jump there. You can come down in some weird ways there. You could do try and get the Cloud Stomping out of the air and get a lot of height out of that, like that. There you go. So that is probably the most effective and protected way you could use these jumping combos. Now let's go into what if you're just safe and you just want to get up somewhere high. So just starting out, the way that soaring tricks work on Tamer is based off of flow leap, which lets you double jump. So you can see with all this jump height, double jump is actually quite high already. You can do it to either side or forward. You can jump backwards and then do side to side or forward. And at the top of that double jump animation, there's a series of cancels you can use, either LMB, RMB, or Q, that are going to do a little bit of a pause there in the air. And off of those cancels, you can flow into another cancel, Legendary Beast Power usually, that's going to let you do something right after Legendary Beast Power. So that's at the top of triple jump, but these cancels are also what you use to get to that third jump. So on the top of your double jump, you can use LMB cancel, you can use RMB cancel, or you can use Q cancel, which is the easiest one because you don't have to take your finger off of W, off of the forward key, and you can still do the triple jump. So all the other ones, you're not going to be able to do the jump if you leave your finger on the W key, okay? You have to take it right off and reapply. And that way you get to the top. So at the top of that triple jump, that's where the magic starts happening. The rules change a little bit in the air after you've done that third jump. You're going to need to do a specific extender if you want to jump any further. So that extender is bolt jump. And that was the height preserving way I just did it there. That one's a lot harder to pull off. So what you may want to do, especially to avoid the falling animation, is linger that animation there. So out of that animation, once you hit that bolt, you can do a side leap and you can continue the jumping process. So this also works out of any of the side to sides, with the caveat that side to sides can't be canceled at the top of the double jump with LMB. So you do have to burn a cooldown, which is why, you know, I don't like using anything other than the LMB cancel if I don't have to. Although the timing's a bit tighter, it's a bit harder to do. You put Scratch or you put Air Lightning on cooldown, and those are both valuable cooldowns when you're fighting, and Scratch is also a valuable cooldown in the air because you can do this side scratch, but the one that's off cooldown, the second one I did there, you can't do that little side leap out of it until way later. So that one's less efficient for jumping. Once you're into that second one, you kind of have to do something that's going to likely bring you to the ground. Unless you're doing some of the super advanced fancy stuff. That's sort of the Whirlwind Tour of the options you have available to you. And now we're going to start over kind of from the ground up and just build on some basic building blocks here. So first of all, double jump. Okay, hold W, hit space, get the 2 jumps in. At the top of that animation, you can cancel with leaf slash. That's LMB. That's going to let you do the third jump. Double jump, LMB, take your hands off the keyboard, and then reapply W, reapply space. That'll get you your third jump. And then you can LMB cancel again at the top of that. Okay, and just practicing that sequence for a while until you get the timing down is going to let you start practicing the next part cleanly, which is Legendary Beast Power. Out of Legendary Beast Power, you can do a number of things, but one of the best ones to do in Awakening is Bolt Jump. And the way that Bolt Jump kind of works best is if you hold all 3 of these keys simultaneously, you're going to do Legendary Beast Power into Bolt Wave right away with absolutely no delay, and that's going to keep the maximum amount of height. So let's just go over the basic descents that you might want to use. The first one is just going to be Evasion. All right, now that that's protected, that is a very reliable and good thing to do to come down and not be attacked and killed immediately. The other one you may want to consider is Tree Climb, either out of Evasion or on its own. That's going to leap very far forward. Has a lot of benefit with the new version that leaps you forward in terms of going up terrain and not getting stuck on it. And then you also have that catch at the end with Spray Scratch. The other benefits using Tree Climb is if you target it just right, you can use grab right out of it. And one last thing to mention is WF, the input for Tree Climb. When Tree Climb is on cooldown, does Moonlight Strike. So one of the zoomiest things that you can do is going to be Tree Climb into Moonlight Strike, which cancels the end of Tree Climb directly into the Moonlight Strike movement. So both of those into grab, Tree Climb and Moonlight Strike, are very fluid and work very well. So if you hit somebody after coming down out of the sky with your tree climb or your Moonlight strike after tree climb, then you can go right into a grab. Okay, so let's get into the more advanced extendo jumps. And you do this using Bolt Jump in Awakening. You don't have to use Bolt Wave to get this done in succession, but in Awakening, the only way to extend off triple jump now after throat burn got changed so that the animation doesn't have any kind of upward mobility. It used to be the way that you would get that little floor that you see under you for Bolt Wave. You kind of pop up just for a second. So throat burn used to have even more of that, and it was a reliable thing you could use in both pre-awakening and awakening to get the jumps to go. So what you do now instead is bolt and then side leap. Okay, so let's get into how you extend jump combos even further. This works anywhere in the air where you can get a side leap going. You can then use the typical cancels you might use to get the side to sides to go, which means, you know, anything but LMB, which you can only really use forward. And there you go. And you can keep going after that point. So that's how you do longer jump combos. And every time you do a bolt jump, you can linger it, you can do side leap, and you can keep going with RMB cancel, which is typically what people use. But you get falling animation a lot of the time. So part of doing bolt jumps and extended combos is that you're now setting yourself up for much more uncertainty and much more interaction with the elevation that's around you. So you kind of have to keep an eye on how high off the ground you are if you're going to do extended bolt jumping. And as soon as you get a little too high, you're going to get falling animation, and it's going to be really hard to keep the timings going, and you're trying to pay attention to what's beneath you because assumably you have some kind of purpose as to why you're staying in the air. So basically the rule of thumb is after that first triple jump, which is easy to just practice over and over again, you're getting into like really the domain of the experts at this. So I've posted a link to the Soaring Arts Discord, and you'll see, you know, there's some people that are just doing this at a level where it's like it really is an art. Like it's really cool just on its own. There's somebody, Elliasto Chan, who has posted so many videos that are really cool to YouTube of him doing this in PvP. So you can draw some ideas from there of how far you want to take this and what you want to apply, because he absolutely has been crushing it for years doing this. And Scarlet too has some great videos of her doing the Soaring Arts, the progenitor of this fine niche combat style. And you really should check these channels out and just watch some of these old videos. It's still relevant today because a lot of these tricks you can still do in some form or fashion. So really pay attention to the situations that are on display in those videos, and you might be able to draw some ideas and figure some stuff out for yourself as to how far you want to take this and what you want to use it for.